Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Plays the role of young boy Ying Zheng. I take on the role of childhood male god. Jiang Yun was reborn into a parallel city and became a 14-year-old beauty in the production family. Under the temptation of an unscrupulous system, Jiang Yun, who came to the crew to eat melon, chose to become an actor. From then on, a child star with acting skills that could be considered a monster emerged, and he was the young boy Ying Zheng in Xinxin Huang. Let the audience exclaim directly. Good guy. What a face that has flipped over 6 countries. Just as everyone was caught up in their pursuit of the beauty and dominance of young Ying Zheng, more and more characters from Jiang Yun emerged. The highly skilled Feilu in Langya Bang, the young Zhang Qiling in Tomb Robbing Notes, and Wu Wanli in Changjin Lake all came to life in Jiang Yun's portrayal. The most classic is still one of his explosive videos. In the face of a reporter's interview, Jiang Yun said with a handsome face that was 3 points distant and 7 points indifferent. Actually, I believe I am a lively person. Reporter. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. This is a picture of overthrowing the 6 kingdoms. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. This is with a face that overthrows the 6 kingdoms. A customized Rolls-Royce Phantom is speeding on the highway. The passing signs indicate the destination of these 2 vehicles, Hengdian, which is still 10 kilometers away. Inside the car, a woman and a boy sat facing each other and looked at each other. Well done, why do you suddenly want to go see the crew? General Manager of Oriental Media, Bai Hanyue looked at her son Jiang Yun with a puzzled expression and asked. Today should be your birthday, and we should gather together as a family. Facing his mother who appeared to be in her 30s, Jiang Yun's gaze remained fixed on the scenery outside the window. It's nothing, just a little curious, so I want to go and take a look. Is that right? Bai Hanyue looked at her own offspring with some suspicion, but the next second, maternal love made her give up thinking. Forget it, my dear son just needs to be happy. Do whatever your own cub wants. The initial task of the system is to go to a crew to watch filming, and the reward for the task will be determined based on the subsequent completion status. Jiang Yun, who had been staring out the window, seemed to be looking at the scenery, but in reality, he was looking at his own system interface. After confirming the text in front of him again, Jiang Yun clenched his right hand on his thigh. Thinking of the system that suddenly appeared in his mind 3 days ago, Jiang Yun sighed in his heart. I didn't expect to encounter the plot in the novel. Yes, who makes me a time traveler? After 14 years, the system finally awakens. However, Jiang Yun was not overly happy due to the awakening of the system. In fact, whether or not there is a system that has little impact on him, who has become a super-rich second generation through time travel. For this system, Jiang Yun has a very indifferent view. If it is a system that is beneficial for one's own development, then one can continue to follow the task. If it's not very useful, Jiang Yun glanced slightly at Bai Hanyue, who was handling company affairs with her tablet, and sighed slightly in her heart. Then I can only become a rich second generation who just fools around and waits to die. Hengdian. What kind of thing are you? Do you think I'm rare to use you for acting? If it weren't for your company's lack of skin and face begging me. Do you think I'll use your trash to act? You still look down on me. What the hell? Acting like dog shit, get out. Get out of here quickly. Within the crew of Xinxin Huang. Director Su Zheng, known as the Su Cannon in the industry, is cursing because his emotions are too excited, and his bald head is starting to engorge and turn red. In front of him, 4 or 5 staff members were blocking a young man. The young man was about 1.6 meters tall, dressed in a black historical robe. His soft and beautiful cheeks made it almost impossible to distinguish whether he was a man or a woman. At this moment, her beautiful face was also unwilling to be outdone, shouting angrily at the director. Do you think I'm willing to play you, this bald and terrible movie? Shoot for 7 or 8 hours a day, using people as livestock. How amazing are you really? Believe it or not, I'll go back and let my fans scold you to death. Next to the young man stood a middle-aged woman, who anxiously stopped him. Xinxin, please speak a few words less and be polite when talking to Director Su. Su Jing sneered and shook his hand, saying, Don't. I'm just a bald guy. After speaking angrily, he turned his head to look at the middle-aged woman and said in displeasure. Hua Jie, I gave you face, but now your people don't give me face. I didn't have a high opinion of his teenage idol back then, so I let him try it out for your sake. Speaking of which, Su Jing didn't know what scene he had in mind and laughed back angrily. So you brought me a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. At first, Su Jing was able to suppress his anger, but the more he spoke, the more angry he became, and in the end, it had simply turned into a roar. The young people known as Xinxin were also somewhat frightened. And Su Jing, who had been staring at him, took a deep breath and pointed to the doorway. Get out. Get out of here before I'm even planning to finish it. Agent Hua's face was also somewhat embarrassed, with an awkward expression. Do you dare me? Humph. Xinxin, who was already somewhat panicked, suddenly thought of something and sneered directly at Su Jing. I'll go. Okay, I'll leave now. I'll see how you explain it to my boss. After Xinxin finished speaking, he broke free from the staff around him, turned around, and walked outside. Wait a minute. Before taking 2 steps, I heard Su Jing speaking from behind. Xinxin, who was walking outward, showed a proud expression and turned around to sneer. What? Do you know you regret it now? It's too late. I'll have my fans scold you to death when I go back. Regret. Su Jing also sneered, you deserve it too. Take off my clothes, they are the property of the crew. Xinxin's face suddenly turned black like the bottom of a pot, and he took off his clothes and threw them on the ground. You think I like to wear these tattered things? Su Jing. You wait. You wait. If I don't make you look good, I'll write my name Huang Xinxin upside down. Huang Xinxin, who was already on fire as a teenager, quickly revealed everything he knew to the outside world. This time, Oriental Media invested 100 million yuan to shoot this TV drama. You and your drama are about to air. If you can't finish filming, wait for you. After hearing this, Su Jing sneered and said, I care about you with your little brat who hasn't even grown a hair. You. Oh my. Sister Hua on the side is really in a dilemma. On one hand, she is her long-time friend, and on the other hand, she is her most popular idol artist. Faced with this situation, she really doesn't know whether to take care of the artist's emotions first or explain to her old friend first. The other members of the crew were as quiet as cicadas, and no one dared to speak. In fact, they are not satisfied with Huang Xinxin anymore. He is just a little kid, relying on the traffic and capital behind him. Not only does he act recklessly on the set, but even the director doesn't take it seriously. However, there is no other way. Who would have made their fresh meat so popular among many fans now? After all, Oriental Media found him to play the role of Ying Zheng during his teenage years, hoping to attract a wave of traffic by leveraging his fans. It has to be said that the other party really has a lot of so-called mom fans. But now when they hear the director arguing with him, the staff feels a bit uneasy, but they dare not show it. The assistant director on the side is really worried. After all, it's easy to fire someone on the set, but after firing, who can replace him? Nowadays, if you want to collaborate with other child stars, you need to make an appointment at least a year in advance. Unknown artist, what can you do if you come back? Even if the director is willing to promote newcomers, are investors willing? They threw billions into it, asking you to find a group of newcomers with no traffic to act. The air quieted down for a moment, and the director and Huang Xinxin stared at each other intently. They are all waiting for each other to give them a step. And at that moment, a somewhat disharmonious and indifferent young man's voice rang out. Is this the crew of Xinxin Huang? As soon as the sound came out, everyone was bewildered and turned their heads together to look at the door. At this moment, there was a young man standing at the door, about 1.6 meters tall, with a well-proportioned figure, wearing a tight black T-shirt. Well, it's LV's, it's said to be very expensive. He still wears a duckbill cap on his head, and it's hard to tell what his hair looks like. But just seeing his face is enough to make people ignore everything. The words Yishu Lin Feng and domineering and calm were no longer idioms in front of him, but just adjectives. The young man was somewhat puzzled when he saw everyone staring at him like this, but there was no panic on his face, even though he was being watched by dozens of people at the moment. Don't worry about me, you continue. The young man spoke coldly, but to everyone's ears, it was more like issuing an imperial decree. Seeing everyone still frozen in place, the young man frowned slightly, pondered for a moment, and then said coldly. Oh, my name is Jiang Yun, just an ordinary investor's son. The crew is still quiet. To be precise, there was originally some movement, but after the boy's words fell, there was no more. Investors. My son. The deputy director swallowed a mouthful of saliva and suddenly thought to himself that the producer had said that investors would come to check the filming progress today. But what's going on with this teenager? What a strong sense of oppression. Even making people dare not speak up. Pop. Just as the atmosphere became even more silent again, a crisp sound suddenly came from the crowd. Everyone instinctively looked in the direction of the sound. I saw director Su Zheng's face excited at this moment, and the crisp sound just now was the sound of him patting his thigh. This is simply a face that overthrows the six kingdoms. This is the actor I want. After the director finished speaking, he stood up and walked towards Jiang Yun, completely ignoring Huang Xinxin and Hua Jie, whose faces had changed greatly. After meeting Jiang Yun's calm and watery gaze for a while, Su Zheng, who inexplicably felt a surge of pressure, spoke up and asked. Young man, are you interested in acting? New book seeking support. A relatively novel theme. I don't know if this idea works. If you think this idea is feasible, please let the book review know. There are saved manuscripts that can explode. As long as someone throws flowers or reviews, they will explode. Even if it's 10 flowers or 10 reviews, they are still supportive. Thank you very much. Chapter 2 is about experiencing summer work, seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 is about experiencing summer work. Acting. Although I'm not sure about the situation after the system task, looking at the strange smile on his bald face in front of him, Jiang Yun's eyes narrowed slightly and his attitude became even more indifferent. This guy doesn't seem like a good person, laughing so perversely. Is it just? Then I'm in danger. Jiang Yun was just about to say no when he suddenly felt like he was being hugged. Meanwhile, the voice that Jiang Yun had heard for 14 years came from above his head. Yun, you don't know, wait for mom. Bad kid. Listening to his mother's voice, Jiang Yun's indifference on his face slightly decreased. But the next moment my mother pinched my cheeks. Jiang Yun suddenly exuded an aura of being a stranger and not entering, even with a hint of shame and anger in his eyes. Although Jiang Yun's cheeks were constantly being kneaded at this moment, Su Zheng, who could feel the momentum up close, was so excited that he couldn't help but feel it. I exclaimed in my heart. This feeling is simply the feeling brought by the rebirth of young Ying Zheng. Cold, gloomy, and murderous. Perfect. Su Zheng, what are you thinking? Didn't you hear me asking you? Ah. Suddenly, Bai Hanyue's emotionless voice interrupted Su Zheng's beautiful idea. Looking up at Bai Hanyue's face, which was one of the best in the entertainment industry, Su Zheng only then noticed that she was in front of him. Mr. Bai. When did you come? Just when you were about to deceive my son. Bai Hanyue tightly embraced Jiang Yun with her right arm, staring at Su Zheng with a hint of vigilance in her eyes. Just now, Su Zheng's excited gaze triggered the old mother's protective sentiment towards the calf, and now he wished to block Jiang Yun behind him. Mr. Bai, how can we say it's a scam? Wait, this is your son. Su was scratching his bald head and speaking to Bai Hanyue in a friendly tone, completely no longer looking like he was about to eat people just now. What do you want? Bai Hanyue looked at Su Zheng with a slight vigilance, while quickly scanning the surrounding crew environment. When Bai Hanyue saw Huang Xinxin in the black robe on the ground, her eyes narrowed slightly, and she roughly understood what had happened in her heart. However, Su Jingxi had no idea that the situation of her crew had been completely exposed by the investment boss. Even if he knew, he might not care now. Because Su Zheng's current goal is only one, which is to find ways to get the boss's son in front of him to appear in his own TV drama. So, director Su Zheng began to invite investment boss Bai Hanyue. Bai Hanyue couldn't help but refuse directly. Su Zheng saw Bai Hanyue's refusal and immediately said anxiously, Mr. Bai, don't rush to refuse yet. Please listen to me. Don't listen, my son doesn't need to do things as tiring as acting, okay? How could he get tired from acting? Being an actor earns a lot of money. Of course I know it's not low, because I have to cut into the income of all the actors. Upon hearing this, Su Zheng suddenly realized that the boss standing in front of him was one of the largest entertainment companies in China. But for the sake of his own work, Su Zheng resolutely decided to cast the boss's son in his own play. It's really because Jiang Yun's face perfectly matches his fantasy of a young boy named Ying Zheng. No, it should be said to be much better than he imagined. So Su Zheng began to constantly plead with Bai Hanyue to let Jiang Yun play the role. As for the invited protagonist, what is Jiang Yun doing at this moment? He is watching his system, more precisely, the text appearing on the virtual screen in front of him. Once the crew mission is completed, start selecting the route. Route 1. I think you have a good position as a director. Route 2. I think it's better for me to be a wealthy second generation. Route 3. Just kidding, I really enjoy acting. Host to make a selection. Chapter 3. System route confirmation, actor route. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 System route confirmation, actor route, route confirmed, new tasks released, rewards credited. Route determination reward. Acting imitation technique max. New task. Play the role of young Ying Zheng in Emperor Qin Shi Huang, and receive task rewards upon completion. Do you want to give it a try? That's great. Su Zheng excitedly clapped his hands, little realizing that just now he almost knelt down for Bai Hanyue to agree. It's not that he's a bully and a coward, but it's the first time he's seen someone who fits the character so well. If he really missed out on this actor, his directing career may not have always regretted it. Fortunately, Jiang Yun agreed. Yun, have you really figured it out? Acting is tiring. Bai Hanyue looked at her precious son and thought that he would stand in the scorching sun without air conditioning, wearing thick ancient clothes. This filled her with a pang of heartache. How can one's own son suffer such a crime? But as Jiang Yun's biological mother, Bai Hanyue still knows the personality of her precious son very well. Usually, as long as you focus on one thing, even if you hit the south wall, you won't turn back. So he sighed and immediately entered work mode, looking at Su Zheng, the bald director, asking. How long will it take to shoot? If we add more classes, it will be a week. A week will definitely end. Su Zheng confidently said that after all, in order to wait for Huang Xinxin, the entire drama only had the role of young Ying Zheng left. After hearing about it for a week, Bai Hanyue reluctantly nodded and continued to ask. How many scenes are there? Not much, but it can be said to be very important. Well. Both of them were swift and decisive individuals, and after confirming Jiang Yun's desire to act, they quickly began to talk about the details of the filming. Of course, there was no mention of Huang Xinxin, the former actor of young boy Ying Zheng, throughout the entire process. Their indifferent attitude completely angered Huang Xinxin on the side, and he shook his hand again before turning his head and leaving. Sister Hua hurriedly chased after her and said, Xinxin, Xinxin, please slow down, slow down. Due to the need for a conversation, Bai Hanyue finally let go of Jiang Yun. Jiang Yun, who breathed a sigh of relief, stood at the entrance, and Huang Xinxin could only pass by him if he wanted to go out. But I don't know if Huang Tao was deliberately picking trouble. When he arrived at the door, Huang Xinxin deliberately bumped into Jiang Yun. Jiang Yun was fine, there was no reaction, and his body didn't move. Instead, Huang Xinxin sat down on the ground. At this moment, Huang Xinxin was confused, feeling as if he had just hit a pillar instead of a person. Immediately, he couldn't help but become angry and pointed at Jiang Yun, roaring angrily. You're blind. What are you blocking the door for? However, when he met Jiang Yun's gaze, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice hole. There is only one thought in my heart. Can a person's gaze be so terrifying? Before Jiang Yun could speak, Director Su, who was the first to react, couldn't help but curse angrily. Wang Xiaohua. Take the person away. Don't force me to turn my back. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Hua Jia agreed and dragged Huang Xinxin out of the crew. Huang Xinxin did not resist either, but continued to chatter and curse non-stop along the way. But he dared not curse Jiang Yun at all, just kept cursing Director Su Zheng. Is this the actor from before? Bai Hanyue, who was checking if there was anything wrong with Jiang Yun, suddenly spoke up and asked. Ah, isn't that right? Director Su Zheng sighed and then adjusted his emotional tone. Just a bastard who doesn't know anything except playing big cards. Mr. Bai, is your son okay? It's okay. Jiang Yun spoke up, but not to the director, but to Bai Hanyue. Because he knew that if he didn't stop his mother, she would take off his clothes to see if he was injured. It's okay, it's okay. Bai Hanyue breathed a sigh of relief, and then Jiang Yun went to the car to get herself a bottle of water. The reason is. Mom is wearing high heels and walking is not very convenient. After Jiang Yun walked towards the Rolls-Royce Phantom parked outside the crew, the smile on Bai Hanyue's face instantly disappeared. That person just now is Huang Xinxin. Director Su Zheng looked at Bai Hanyue with an expressionless expression, and his heart suddenly became nervous. He quickly nodded and said. It's him. Humph. Bai Hanyue snorted coldly, this painting is still mixed up in the circle. No, it won't be long after following his appearance. But now there are many fans. Although Director Su Zheng followed Bai Hanyue's words, he also silently roasted about the reason why the other party was angry. That is the dual support of traffic and capital. As one of the capital, Bai Hanyue did not deny this at all. After all, our own Oriental media also has many traffic stars that have been promoted. Do you know the agent just now? Bai Hanyue suddenly changed the topic, and Director Su Zheng didn't realize what it meant for a moment. He nodded and said. Yes. Well, I got it. Bai Hanyue nodded and walked out expressionlessly, meeting Jiang Yun who was walking over with water. Let's go, son. Mom will take you to a big meal to celebrate being an actor. Did I take it for free? Jiang Yun looked down at the water he had brought, and then was led away by Bai Hanyue holding hands. New book seeking support. A relatively novel theme. I don't know if this idea works. If you think this idea is feasible, please let the book review know. There are saved manuscripts that can explode. As long as someone throws flowers or reviews, they will explode. Even if it's 10 flowers or 10 reviews, they are still supportive. Thank you very much. Chapter 4. Someone is going to be unlucky, I won't say who it is. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Someone is going to be unlucky, I won't say who it is. Director Xu Zheng, who had been witnessing the backs of the two, suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. The superior aura emanating from Bai Hanyue just now brought him a lot of pressure. After waiting for Rolls-Royce to start running away, the assistant director pushed his glasses and walked out laughing. Is that the legendary Mr. Bai? He looks very easy-going. Oh, easy to get along with. Xu Jing said with a smirk on his face, feeling that all the anger he had just had was wasted. Wait, someone is going to be unlucky, but I won't say who it is. What? The deputy director looked at Xu Jing with confusion, but when he saw the other person shaking their head to signal not to continue, he had to change the topic and say. Although this young master's appearance and temperament are suitable for the city branch, he is also a layman. Can he perform well? Regarding this point, Xu Zheng said casually, why can't he play the play that even those two fools could play before? Associate Director. I'll go, what he said makes sense. Jiang Yun, who had finished dinner with Bai Hanyue at a nearby 5-star hotel, returned to the crew in the afternoon. Coming up is to face the actor contract that director Xu Zheng has drafted with him. Under the gaze of Bai Hanyue, the true behind-the-scenes controller of the production team, director Xu Zheng dared not have any malicious thoughts. After confirming that there were no issues, Bai Hanyue signed this contract as Jiang Yun's mother. After the contract is signed, Jiang Yun was directly taken away by the staff to put on makeup. Although he felt a bit panicked, his face remained calm and composed. The staff couldn't help but sigh at this. Undoubtedly the young master of a wealthy family, this mentality is amazing. At this point, applying makeup to Jiang Yun is a sissy, and I don't know if the more professional the industry is, the more feminine it is. Little handsome guy, you have such a good foundation. It's really pointless not to be a celebrity. Don't worry, my brother will definitely dress you up beautifully. Jiang Yun was so disgusted when he heard the other person's slutty voice that he wanted to imprint his size 41 shoes on their size 46 face. It's disgusting, no matter how good the mentality is, I can't handle such an experience. But after inquiry, it was found that the other party was the best makeup artist on the set. Jiang Yun could only let him squat in front of him and do his makeup. At this moment, Jiang Yun suddenly regretted something. Should I not choose the path of being an actor, or should I just read the script first? Meanwhile, Bai Hanyue couldn't help but laugh as she watched her son's uncomfortable expression on the side, covering her mouth to prevent herself from laughing out loud. Meanwhile, she quietly took several photos and sent them to her husband. Old Jiang, look. Your son is going to cry. Image, what situation? Jiang's father replied instantly, while Bai Hanyue opened a chat app and began sharing interesting stories with her husband. Of course, the topics between the two were almost entirely about Jiang Yun. And Jiang Yun, now he feels like life is more than death. That effeminate male makeup artist kept chattering in his ear like a raven with a broken mouth. I don't know if it was because Jiang Yun ignored him, but the makeup artist gradually quieted down. About 20 minutes later, Jiang Yun was almost asleep when the voice of the makeup artist rang out again. Alright, get up and take a look. Jiang Yun woke up in shock, and when he opened his eyes, he couldn't help but be startled. Because the person in the mirror is almost completely different from his impression of himself. Wearing a headband and wig, I adjusted my hairstyle slightly and trimmed my eyebrows. Using cosmetics to embellish her facial skin, Jiang Yun suddenly felt like a different person. If the previous Jiang Yun looked like a cold and domineering young man, so now Jiang Yun looks like a young emperor who emerged from history. Under the embellishment of makeup, the already somewhat cold face appears even more sinister, and the deep eyes make people dare not look at it. On the other hand, Bai Hanyue was stunned by the sight and hurriedly took photos with her phone, muttering incessantly. I didn't expect my son's ancient costume to be so durable. It must be preserved as a family heirloom. The makeup artist is clearly satisfied with Bai Hanyue's current reaction. He stretched lazily and leaned over the chair, looking at Jiang Yun in the mirror. I'm not talking about you. You also need to use some good skincare products and facial cleansers on a regular basis. You're in puberty now, and with such a delicate face, it's a sin to have acne, you know. After finishing speaking, the makeup artist suddenly asked curiously, what brand of facial cleanser do you usually use? At this moment, Jiang Yun realized and looked up silently, saying, I usually wash it directly with water. Makeup artist. Is this the soda called natural beauty? Oh my goodness. You're not fair. However, the next moment, Bai Hanyue's words hit him even harder. Because every skincare product prepared for Jiang Yun's future from the other party's mouth is priced based on his monthly salary. After listening, the makeup artist collapsed to the ground. Is there still hope for me to be reincarnated now? New book seeking support. A relatively novel theme. I don't know if this idea works. If you think this idea is feasible, please let the book review know. There are saved manuscripts that can explode. As long as someone throws flowers or reviews, they will explode. Even if it's 10 flowers or 10 reviews, they are still supportive. Thank you very much. Is acting so simple in Chapter 5? New book seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as the makeup artist was wondering if life should be restarted, a knock came from outside the door, and then the assistant director walked in with a smile on his face. Xiao Zhou, have you finished putting on your makeup yet? We're about to make up for the remake, you. The deputy director's words were swallowed hard, and he looked at Jiang Yun as if he was foolish as he turned around. The makeup artist felt proud and smiled with his hands crossed over his waist. How about it? That mother-in-law didn't need me to put on makeup for him before. He said his makeup artist graduated from Bangzi country. Is he good at transforming into me? After speaking, I couldn't help but let out a charming moan. Humph. Jiang Yun on the side couldn't help but feel speechless when he heard this female canon scolding another female canon. Bai Hanyue was taking photos of Jiang Yun, especially the speechless expression on her face. The deputy director, who had reacted, nodded in surprise and sighed. You're the best. Jiang Gongzi, come over quickly, your role will be up soon. Jiang Yun instinctively frowned and looked at the deputy director with a strange expression. Is it my role now? Before filming, do you want me to read the script and memorize the lines? What kind of crew is this? Is it so hasty? Bai Hanyue on the side also had some doubts. According to her understanding of Su Zheng, shouldn't she be so hasty? But at this moment, she remained silent and silently followed Jiang Yun out. She, as an investor, will need to see on site how Su Zheng plans to film his own son's scenes. What about the script? Don't I need to say the lines? Jiang Yun raised his own question as he walked. After hearing this, the deputy director quickly smiled and shook his hand, saying, No need, the character you're playing has very few words, and there aren't too many lines in total. You just need to sit there and look back. Jiang Yun frowned lightly, unsure of what to say for a moment. After all, this is completely different from the filming I imagined, it seems a bit too simple. And the deputy director looked at Jiang Yun's expression at this moment, his eyes lit up and said. Right, you just need to maintain this posture, it's quite perfect. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Oh my, it's the first time I've seen someone who fits the character so well. I don't even need to act, just act in my true colors. Although Jiang Yun looked bewildered in his heart, he still had a slight frown on his face, with a feeling of imperial arrogance and self-anger. The staff who saw Jiang Yun all the way exclaimed, "Wow, the director's vision this time is really amazing. Indeed, looking from a distance, I can feel the sense of authority emanating from my body. Isn't this much better than that sissy little fresh meat?" Bai Hanyue listened to a burst of praise from the passing staff, and her lips curled up happily. After all, no mother would dislike her child being praised by others. "Props, just check them once, hurry up. Field affairs, you too. That's about it. Let that bastard make a scene, we need to hurry up. Where's the substitute? Are you ready?" Before entering the scene, Jiang Yun heard Su Zheng's loud voice. The next second, the field task hurriedly said, "Ready, the makeup artist is repairing the makeup and will be here soon." The deputy director first bowed his head to apologize to Jiang Yun and Bai Hanyue, then walked over and asked, "Using a stunt double. Why don't the actors come in person?" Su Zheng waved his hand and said, "Hurry up with the schedule, the time for renting the venue is approaching. The scenes previously filmed by Huang Xinxin cannot be used now, so I plan to divide them into 2 groups. You bring a stunt double and Jiang Yun to shoot scenes that Huang Xinxin had previously filmed, while I lead the others to shoot normally and finish the last one." The assistant director nodded lightly. This is another drawback after firing the original actors, all the shots are scrapped. Su Zheng looked at his contemplative expression and smiled as he patted his shoulder. "Don't think too much, there's enough time. Besides, the role of young Ying Zheng doesn't have many scenes. You have to put in a lot of effort, hurry up." The director was about to say a few more words when he noticed that the entire crew seemed to be paused by someone, and everyone's gaze was directed towards him. The director also followed their gaze and looked at it, feeling a bit confused. Just now, Jiang Yun is wearing a black robe, which is clearly a very simple robe. But due to Jiang Yun's symmetrical figure, he looks a bit slim. Eyes like stars, eyebrows like swords. Standing there without saying anything, an imperial aura had already emanated. The director's eyes are getting brighter and brighter. Isn't this the image of young Ying Zheng in his mind when he was filming? "Jiang Gongzi, come on." The director couldn't help but get up in person and bring Jiang Yun to a bed, saying, "The scene in this section is very simple. You just sit here and when I shout, you just turn around." Jiang Yun sat in front of the bed, listening attentively to the director's lecture. "When the time comes, just frown lightly. For other expressions, you just need to maintain your current expression. Is acting so simple? It seems that there is no need for the acting skills provided by the system." After thinking for a few seconds, Jiang Yun nodded, indicating that he had understood. The director walked back to the director's chair and picked up his own horn, shouting to the whole audience, "Get ready to start filming." The script had already stood in front of the camera, ready to play the board, waiting for everyone's staff to confirm that there were no issues before the script spoke up. The first time in the 17th act of Qin Shi Huang, the God of Yak. Chapter 6. Let them know the consequences of offending me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The biggest advantage of Jiang Yun is that he doesn't have the arrogance of those wealthy second-generation people, and is approachable as a whole. In fact, most of those arrogant second-generation wealthy individuals are those who suddenly become wealthy at home. Young people from truly big families are highly educated. And Jiang Yun sat on the couch, familiar with the director's words. Isn't it just a gentle frown and a look back? It's very simple. So, according to my own understanding, the crew sat on the couch with their backs on. The whole person's temperament slowly revealed itself. Although he didn't turn back, he just turned his back to everyone. But the undeniable presence on Jiang Yun's body made everyone unable to resist putting realization on him. Director, look at it, this sense of presence is simply. Director Su Jing didn't pay attention at first, but when the deputy director turned his head to look, he was immediately shocked. Good guy, even though I didn't focus on him, I could still attract so much attention. Speaking of which, Su Zheng sighed and exclaimed. A natural protagonist. Yeah, this kind of presence is not suitable for being an actor, the limitations are too high. The assistant director, who was speaking, smiled bitterly the next second. But their background determines that as long as they want to play, they can always be the main character. Director Su Zheng, however, had no time to respond and looked at the monitor, hurriedly directing and shouting. Third machine, move back a bit, give the male actor a full body shot. Fourth machine, you assist to the left, make sure to record this long shot. Looking at Jiang Yun's slightly furrowed eyebrows on the director's screen, Director Su Zheng couldn't help but laugh out loud. I am so lucky that I can run into such a great actor who fits the character so well. Stand and enter. The recording on the side whispered, and LV Bui's stunt double walked slowly in at the door. Jiang Yun heard the words of the recording, but continued to follow the director's previous words and did not move. Instead, he sat with his back. Suddenly, Director Su Zheng's displeased voice came from behind. Card. Immediately, Director Su Zheng stood up angrily and shouted at the substitute. Go ahead. Go ahead. At this moment, Jiang Yun turned his head in surprise, wanting to see what had happened. Looking back, I saw the double standing about 5 or 6 meters away from me, looking at the director with a bewildered expression on his face. Director, when I saw that I had changed actors, I didn't react for a while. Supporting role's face is a little red, and I don't know whether it is because of NG's shame or other reasons. Director Su Zheng sighed with confusion about the accessories. If we don't change actors, do we still need to remake this scene? You just walk up behind him and wait for him to turn around. Do you understand? The supporting role repeatedly nodded his head to show that he understood what the actor had not responded to, which was nonsense. Mainly because he had never seen Jiang Yun before, he just walked in and saw his back. That sense of authority made him very nervous for a moment, and then he forgot to act and stood still. After the director had the prop designer and others double-check, the second round of filming began. In the nanny's car, Wang Jia, who plays Zhao Ji, is the real female lead in the production of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, scrolling through entertainment news. Not long after brushing, her assistant opened the car door and walked into the car with an excited expression on her face. How's it going? What kind of person has my son changed to? Wang Jia asked without lifting her head. I don't know, but I'm so handsome. I'm really, really handsome. Wang Jia was taken aback, not familiar, but particularly handsome. The assistant said excitedly. Jia, I highly recommend you to take a look. Wow, you're really handsome. I've never seen such a handsome person since I was young. This statement piqued Wang Jia's interest to some extent. She actually doesn't like Huang Xinxin, who played the role of young boy Ying Zheng before. Always using various reasons to approach oneself, and constantly suggesting that one can really call oneself a mother. It's obvious that I want to lean against my thigh. She has never had a favorable impression of someone who wants to eat soft food. Especially when the other party is still a teenager, their thoughts are so dirty and annoying. But the director suddenly fired Huang Xinxin and replaced him with a new actor. She still feels a bit uncomfortable because she thinks it's disrespectful to her by the director. She used to be the supporting role of a top flow student, but now you have changed to a plain person, so her power will go down. But now let the assistant say that she also became interested, put down the tablet in her hand, and then picked up the script. Let's go over and take a look. The assistant nodded repeatedly, with a silly expression on his face. When Wang Jia arrived at the filming site, Jiang Yun was still walking with his back, and the substitute was walking forward calmly. From Wang Jia's perspective, one can see 3/4 of Jiang Yun's face. After seeing Jiang Yun's face for the first time, Han Li's gaze couldn't move away anymore. What a face that is! Although it looks like a handsome young face, the lightly furrowed brow and deep gaze at this moment, countless words describing a young emperor have been seen in novels. Suddenly, there was a concrete image, which was the person in front of them. Previously, Wang Jia had no concept of the role of young boy Ying Zheng. Because it's really difficult for child stars to perform the temperament of King Zheng, who ascended the throne at the age of 13. But now I feel like this character is standing in front of me alive. Wang Jia, who saw the new script at the beginning, also secretly roast. The role of young Ying Zheng is quite awkward because there are hardly any young actors who can carry it. And those who can carry such a temperament are probably already uncles. But seeing Jiang Yun now, she realized that there are still such perfect young actors in this world. Wang Jia's expression was somewhat restrained, but the little assistant behind him had already a seductive expression on his face, secretly pulling at Wang Jia's hem and whispering. "Sister Jia, didn't I lie to you? Are you handsome or not? Are you handsome or not?" Wang Jia nodded lightly. In her opinion, Jiang Yun's appearance was absolutely impeccable. Even among the male stars she has worked with, her looks are enough to rank in the top 3. This is still when the other person is not fully open, but at this age, they should not grow crooked in the future. In Wang Jia's eyes, looks like Jiang Yun can even be said to no longer require acting skills. As long as he is given some resources, the future is definitely promising. The director also noticed Wang Jia, but ignored her at all. All his thoughts now are focused on Jiang Yun in the camera. Only by Han Yue, as her biological mother, suddenly turned her head to look at Wang Jia. She always felt as if the old woman with shining eyes across from her was thinking about her own son. Suddenly, an idea appeared in Bai Hanyue's heart. It seems that in the future, I need to add a few bodyguards to my family's Yun, otherwise those bad women will pose a great threat to Yun. Bastard! Bastard! Dare to fire me! Use a new employee. Okay. No one of you can think of anything better. Inside the hotel, Huang Xinxin, who had just been fired, angrily smashed everything in front of him. At this moment, he didn't have the same effeminate appearance as before. At this moment, his neck was bulging with veins, his eyes were bloodshot, and he was unusually ferocious. He roared, "Su Zheng! And the person who replaced me! I want you to die. Let you all die." After Huang Xinxin finished speaking, he took out his phone and started posting on Weibo. Sister Hua came in carrying takeout outside the door, and couldn't help but sigh when she saw the mess on the ground. "Xinxin, the company will ask them for an explanation about this matter. Don't get angry and break your body." She was bending down to pack her things and didn't notice that her artist had sent a Weibo post. Huang Xinxin looked at the Weibo he had just sent, with a twisted grin on his face. "I want them all to die. Let them know the consequences of offending me." Chapter 7. Weibo Hot Discussion, Despicable Huang Xinxin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At 9 o'clock in the evening, the filming of this day's scenes is considered complete. Jiang Yun filmed many scenes this afternoon. At the beginning, he was really a bit nervous. It wouldn't be good if he delayed the progress of the production team because of himself. Well, although these are just thoughts in my mind, they have never been expressed on the surface. But it wasn't until the filming started that he realized the character was so simple. Almost complete facial paralysis is enough, and the dialogue is also simple. And the people on the set are all very kind to him, saying that he can't remember the lines and reciting 1 2 3 4 5 6 is also okay. They will do post-production dubbing. This makes Jiang Yun a bit strange. There are only a few lines in total. If he were to say 123,456 again, how low would his IQ be? Huang Xinxin, who was surfing at the hotel, suddenly sneezed. Jiang Yun gradually found the feeling of being an actor, and filming was almost always a one-time experience, but he also failed twice. Most of it is the fault of the actors in the play. Not everyone can easily face Jiang Yun's profound gaze. After a busy day, Jiang Yun went to his own Rolls-Royce, leaving the crew amidst the envious gazes of everyone in the play. Inside the car, Bai Hanyue, with an excited expression on her face, held up her phone and swiped back and forth, finally chuckling. "I'll just say, my son looks so much like your father, he will definitely become a big star in the future. By the way, when your father was young, he was also a school grass. Have you heard of military art school grass? How could you not know? Back then, I was the same. This is already the 30th time this year. Mom, don't boast too much about my dad. No, my husband is just handsome." Jiang Yun helplessly helped his hand, and he was also very helpless about his mother. In the eyes of outsiders, Bai Hanyue is undoubtedly a cold and unapproachable owner of an entertainment company. But in the eyes of her own family, she is just a little woman who wants to kiss her husband every day and hug her son. However, Jiang Yun has always been unclear about the boundary between handsome men. After all, as a handsome guy, most of the other handsome guys in his eyes are ordinary people. It's like a person who is about 1.85 meters tall, and he doesn't feel anything until he sees someone taller than him. Unless someone over 2 meters tall appears in front of him, he will only realize later that this person is so tall. Jiang Yun is the same. Unless there is someone even more handsome than him appearing in front of him, he will feel, wow, so handsome. After the mother and son returned to the hotel, Bai Hanyue waved her hand and picked up a large table of dishes. As the name suggests, to celebrate for my son. Not only that, he also took out his phone and clicked on the video call, placing it aside. In the phone is Jiang Yun's father, the chairman of Oriental Media Entertainment Company. "Oh my big star son is back. Let Dad see if his former actor son has changed." In his father's eyes, Jiang Yun seemed to have always been a child. Jiang Yun's father's name is Jiang Kitchen. He has a handsome middle-aged man's appearance, and that face can be said to be the favorite of his uncles. Plus Bai Hanyue's face, which can also be called the top beauty in the entertainment industry. Jiang Yun, who inherited the genes of the two, only then did his appearance appear so outrageous that it left everyone stunned. Yun performed exceptionally well today, and I don't think he's any worse than those actors with a background in science. As soon as Jiang Yun sat down, Bai Hanyue beside him reached out and pinched his face. Jiang Yun, whose face was pinched, was speechless for a moment and patted Bai Hanyue's hand, which was causing chaos. "Mom, I'm already 15. Can you stop pinching your face all the time?" The old mother didn't want to hear it and started talking again. "What's wrong with 15? Even if you're 70.5, it won't delay me from pinching your face. I'm your mother." Jiang Kitchen shook his head and smiled on his phone. "If my son is 70.5, we probably both have gone to the ground. How are you pinching him?" "He's pinching him for a dream." After hearing this, Bai Hanyue glared discontentedly, and Jiang Kitchen decisively changed the topic. Cough cough. "So what? You guys eat quickly, I'll eat here too." After speaking, place the red wine glass in your hand in front of the camera as a gesture. The family had a delightful dinner. Jiang Yun could tell that Jiang Kitchen was really happy and drank 2 large glasses of red wine in a row. He breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. He thought his father wouldn't like to act, but now it doesn't seem like that. Finally, Jiang Yun, who was full, left the restaurant first, leaving a private space for his parents to video chat. "Go back to your suite to take a shower and sleep. But I don't know that the internet is already surging." The source is certainly because of Huang Xinxin's Weibo post. As one of the top 5 fresh meats in China, although Huang Xinxin's popularity is not as high as the previous 4, it cannot be ignored. There is still a certain fan base on Weibo and various social media platforms. This time, he added fuel and vinegar to his Weibo account and recounted everything that happened during the day. However, it is only natural to place oneself in the position of the victim. In his narration, he is just a little white rabbit who is not familiar with the world. But that despicable director searched for his flaws and eventually fired him. Give the character that originally belonged to him to the director's own relatives. That's right, the director's relative is Jiang Yun. Huang Xinxin doesn't care if they have any relatives, that's all. As for Bai Hanyue, I'm sorry, Huang Xinxin's status hasn't reached the point of knowing her yet. But the arrogant Huang Xinxin directly regarded him as someone related to Su Zheng. More than 80% of Huang Xinxin's fans are female fans, and they are all young girls. Their values are not yet sound, they don't care about anything, any causes or consequences, the truth of the matter. They only saw their own idol being bullied. How can I be bullied by a stinky director and the other person's relatives? Fans are exploding right now. Looking for places to repost this Weibo and cursing under director Su Zheng's Weibo account. Less than an hour's time. Director Su Zheng's Weibo account, the official Weibo account of Emperor Xinxin Huang, as well as Chiba, short video shake hands platform, and other places have all been censored. Bastard, why change roles? Just like you, a garbage crew. My brother can come because of your face. It's just, hee, it's like a dog biting LV Dongbin. You don't know good people. You really treat me like my older brother and like this ridiculous scene. TSK, the way capital is eating is really ugly now. Are you planning to replace my older brother with a relative of your own? Are you asking a layman to play the role of young boy Ying Zheng? Ha, you're laughing at me. The national policy has been relaxed, and even blind people can become directors now. All the vulgar words are shocking to the eye. It even makes people wonder how these malicious words could be spoken by the future flowers of our motherland. Director Su Zheng, who was sleeping soundly, was called out by his assistant in the middle of the night. Director Su, please take a look. That slut Huang Xinxin has caused fans to explode your Weibo. Su Zheng started working in a daze. He has been too tired these past 2 days and hasn't fully realized it yet. Ah. Director Su, now not only your Weibo account, but also our official Weibo account and shake hands of Xinxin Huang have fallen. What are you saying? Su Zheng finally realized and quickly took the assistant's phone. Just taking a glance at the comments almost made him suffer from a heart attack. Alright. Su Zheng said 3 good things in a row, one by one with more force. He tightly gripped his phone, shaking it with force. Tigers don't show off, treat me like a kitty. Bastard, if I don't kill you. I'll take your surname Su Zheng from now on. He handed his phone to his assistant and then angrily said. Go call the producer over. Hey. The assistant agreed and quickly ran out. Su Zheng pulled off the still charging phone and found Wang Xiaohua's phone number inside and played it over. Hello, Director Su, what? Don't. I can't afford to be like you, Director Su. Wang Xiaohua, I've known you for over a decade, but I didn't expect you to stab me in the back. Wang Xiaohua on the other end of the phone smiled bitterly. Director Su, I know what you're trying to say, but I'm no longer Huang Xinxin's agent, and even the company has objections to me. I might have to leave the company now. Ah. Su Zheng's anger suddenly subsided and he instinctively asked, why? Because the company owner is Huang Xinxin's uncle, and Huang Xinxin doesn't like me. After listening, Su Zheng took a deep breath in his airway. I understand, I won't remember this matter on your head. A company like that, don't be fooled. After Su Zheng finished speaking, he hung up the phone directly. Not long after, the producer of Xinxin Huang walked in. Su Zheng stood up and looked at him, saying with a serious expression. We're going to war. Chapter 8. The explosion of internet heat and the truth of things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The producer clearly knew the whole story and sat down on the sofa, saying, "That bastard, it's time to show him some color. I'll contact the CEO now. Don't worry, I'll let them know who the boss is in this area." The producer's voice was very soft, and he couldn't hear at all that he was angry. But the softer the tone, the more frightening it is. It's like a barking dog or a silent snake. Which one do you think poses a greater threat? Director Xinxin, who lit a cigarette and was smoking, took a deep breath, accompanied by a sigh as he exhaled from the cigarette ring. I knew the current atmosphere in the circle was bad, but I never expected it to be so bad. A small traffic celebrity dares to threaten me. If there is no explanation for this matter, how can I get around in the circle in the future? The producer nodded and said, "Don't worry, I won't see you being bullied, and the boss won't see you being bullied either. Moreover, this matter also concerns the boss's son, and she will not let Huang Xinxin go." Speaking of the matter about Bai Hanyue, the producer suddenly got stuck. But it's better not to let the boss take action, let's solve it first. Xinxin took a deep breath and nodded in pain, saying, "What should I do?" The producer smiled and said, "You don't need to do anything now, leave it to me. You can focus on filming your scenes and also exercise our young master more." "That's your young master, I'm not from your company." As soon as he thought of Jiang Yun, Xinxin couldn't help but smile on his face. After joking with the producer, he exclaimed, "I used to think that kid was just good-looking, but I didn't expect he really had talent. No matter what kind of action scenes, I can teach them once and remember them. You can mention to Mr. Bai that her son is really suitable for acting." After Xinxin finished speaking, he suddenly sighed. "I just don't know if this kid will be tainted by the water in the entertainment industry." The producer didn't listen to these things and stood up to pat Xinxin on the shoulder. "Don't worry about filming your scene with peace of mind. There's no need for us to worry about this kind of thing. Both Bai and Jiang will have relative considerations." Xinxin nodded, indicating that he knew what to do. The producer walked out of the director's room with a smile upon seeing this, but at the moment he left, his entire face darkened. Returning to the room, Wang Shi began editing the copy and clarified the controversy surrounding the angle change. After repeatedly confirming that there were no issues, Wang Shi sent this Weibo to the official Weibo account of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Firstly, as a producer, it was expressed that Jiang Yun is particularly in line with the character's characteristics and was actively invited by the director. As for the relationship with Su Zheng's relatives, it is all a pipe dream. As for Jiang Yun's identity, he did not reveal it, but instead led the topic in another direction. "Huang Xinxin, I advise you to take it seriously. Don't force me to tell you about your time on the set. This sentence is too harsh, it can arouse people's curiosity the most. Especially for controversial artists like Huang Tao. He has many fans, but equally, there are also many black fans." Black fans began to speculate about what Huang Tao had done on the set and posted their ideas online. For a while, the popularity of Huang Xinxin and the crew of Qin Shi Huang skyrocketed. Huang Xinxin couldn't have been captured without restraint, so he also posted on Weibo. "Strongly deny that he has done anything wrong on the set and start pretending to be pitiful." The innocent look in the selfie still has a killing effect on his brainless fans. Quickly gathered a large number of fans and continued to attack the crew of Qin Shi Huang. And the most crucial point of their attack is that ordinary people cannot film. Professional things should be done by professional people. What does Jiang Yun do? That's right, a name I've never heard of before. Can I act? Can I act? You should know that Huang Xinxin worked very hard to play this role. This person is definitely related to the crew, there must be a dark side inside and at this point. Director Xinxin, along with one male and one female, Zhang Fengyi and Wang Jia, posted on Weibo to support Jiang Yun. Firstly, director Su Jing praised Jiang Yun on Weibo. But those compliments sound like pointing fingers and cursing locusts. For example, Jiang Yun is the youngest and most responsible person I have ever seen. He never plays big cards, let alone makes everyone on the crew wait for him, nor does he just say 123,456, I don't want some people to hold Jiang Yun's salary hundreds of times, but it makes people nauseous like that. But now, I think you not only have problems with your acting skills, but also with your character. Then came the veteran actor Zhang Fengyi, whose Weibo account did not have a large number of fans. But those who pay attention to him are all veteran actors and talented actors in the industry, and even some big shots. Jiang Yun, this young man is quite good. He has the ability and can save the field. It's really good, and I really hope he can go further and further in the circle. And Wang Jia, an 85 flower, also posted his own Weibo account. Jiang Yun's acting skills are amazing, and even though he has not undergone professional training, he can quickly get me into the film, and these three people's words made those paparazzi smell the wind. Some people in the circle are even speculating about what the truth is about. Netizens on the internet have completely opened up themselves, and more people are cursing Jiang Yun. But similarly, more and more people are supporting Jiang Yun. Most of them were black fans of Huang Xinxin before. How did that sentence come from? The enemy of the enemy is a friend. Of course, Jiang Yun, who was sleeping, was unaware of these things. But even if he knew, Jiang Yun probably just saw it as a joke. As the son of an entertainment company owner, Jiang Yun can only say that he is too familiar with these operations in the entertainment industry. Early the next morning, the driver drove a Rolls-Royce to bring Jiang Yun to the production team, and as for Bai Hanyue, she has other jobs. I went to the airport early in the morning to prepare for returning to the company to handle matters. As for what it was, Huang Xinxin, whose eyebrows turned black, may not be very interested in knowing. As a fencing champion, Jiang Yun has a habit of doing morning exercises, and getting up early is not a problem. When he arrived on the set, he was still very energetic. Just as he arrived at the production team, Jiang Yun noticed something strange. The people around me looked at me with strange eyes, as if full of curiosity. There's no other way, after all, everyone present knows Jiang Yun's true identity. They are all curious about what kind of punishment this man, who can be called the crown prince of the entertainment industry, will give to Huang Xinxin. However, none of them expected that Jiang Yun still had no idea what had happened. He doesn't have the habit of surfing the internet every day, he just occasionally thinks of going and taking a look. As for the driver, he was also stopped by Hanyue's order and told Jiang Yun. After all, no mother wants her child to face online violence directly. This makes Jiang Yun a bit confused, right? He didn't know why until the effeminate makeup artist put on his makeup. The makeup artist painted powder on Jiang Yun's face while cursing in displeasure. Huang Xinxin, this motherly canon, is really disgusting. He even plays dirty. What happened? Looking at Jiang Yun's somewhat puzzled expression, the makeup artist thought he had been stimulated by cyberbullying and quickly comforted him. Jiang Yun, don't listen to those stubborn spenders online. They are just jealous of you. You are definitely the best fit for this character. Jiang Yun. What? Chapter 9. This little brother doesn't look bad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Quickly, Jiang Yun learned about what happened online last night from the makeup artist. Of course, in order to take care of Jiang Yun's healthy mindset, the makeup artist did not use vulgar language or negative language on the internet. Just briefly explained the problem. Well, I understand. After listening, Jiang Yun nodded and then lowered his head to think. Don't take it to heart, it's just that the other person is jealous of you. The makeup artist mistakenly thought that Jiang Yun was just pretending to be strong when he saw this young adult's appearance. He quickly spoke up to comfort himself, while silently giving himself a mouthful. What are you doing with such a good mouthful? Jiang Yun, who was looking down and pondering on the side, did not fall into any sad state, but was recalling the female canon from yesterday. Huang Xinxin, is it called this name? Surprisingly, he blacklisted me online for no reason. Isn't he afraid of my background? Jiang Yun is still the first time he has seen such a harmless person. You should know that within the entire entertainment industry, Oriental Media Entertainment Company is one of the top players. There are more or less connections with countless celebrities. Some people have even said that offending Oriental Media can be said to offend most of the entertainment industry. Since Jiang Yun was born, he has never seen anyone who takes the initiative in his own company, and he never expected to meet them today. I don't know how Mom would treat that guy. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Bai. I will definitely find a way to solve it. Wang Shi bent down to apologize in front of his phone for a while, and finally breathed a sigh of relief after the other person hung up the phone. Good guy, is a mother's anger so terrifying? Wiping away the cold sweat from his face, Wang Shi looked at the photo of Huang Xinxin on the computer screen in front of him and couldn't help but curse angrily. It's all your fault, kid, but since you took the initiative to die, don't blame me for being impolite. After speaking, open WeChat and find a contact to send a message. I promised you the condition, please deliver it in 3 minutes, happy. With the reply of the other party's message, a folder was sent over. Wang Shi took it over and opened it, looking at the rows of photos. Wang Shi couldn't help but sneer and said, Huang Xinxin, you brought this on your own. Wang Shi started editing on the computer and soon wrote a copy. After checking with pictures, there are no problems at all. I just logged into the already chaotic official Weibo account of Emperor Qin Shi Huang and posted a Weibo post on a new account. Hashtag is this your idol of hard work? Hashtag just saw on Weibo, it was a photo of Huang Xinxin. But these are mostly indecent. Even some spicy eyes, not to mention smoking and drinking. There are also many photos of naked men with bloated bellies. Not only that, each photo has a corresponding date. Once these photos were released, many netizens who were eating melons expressed themselves. Lying down. What a big melon. Oh ho. What kind of things are these? It's so exciting. These are the idols among those brainy fans. I have to say they are quite hard-working, that's the direction. TSK, it looks really eye-catching. No wonder this guy doesn't have any works, he's still so popular. It turns out he relies on PY trading. The release of these indecent photos of Huang Xinxin has caused a huge storm on the internet. Numerous melon-eating crowds and fans are constantly jumping. But even so, there are still some brainless fans sticking to their positions. I believe Huang Xinxin was framed. These photos are all products of Photoshop and are not true. Even these people took the initiative to throw the blame on Su Zheng. It is believed that Su Zheng intentionally purchased Navy and fake photos to defame their Xinxin. Quickly, brainless fans, black fans, and onlookers started arguing on the official Weibo account of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. And Su Zheng, who was observing the whole scene, inexplicably ate melons on his own head. Crouching slot. How come I'm behind the scenes? His mother scolded me. Su Zheng became more and more angry as he looked, and in the end, his whole face and head turned red. Suddenly, Su Zheng noticed a figure and immediately rushed over with a swinging gait. At this moment, Jiang Yun, who had just finished putting on her makeup, was playing against Wang Jia. In fact, it was Wang Jia who took the initiative to find Jiang Yun, and Jiang Yun did not refuse this. Look, at this moment, you can gently lean against my arms. Looking at the protruding part pointed out by Wang Jia, Jiang Yun looked at this unmarried girl who was about the same age as his mother. How do you feel like this guy is plotting against me? Jiang Yun, Jiang Yun. Before Jiang Yun could refuse, director Su Zheng walked over angrily. That cannibalistic expression made Jiang Yun think he had made some mistake. As a result, Su Jing just made him stand up and put on a smile. After waiting for Jiang Yun to set up his style, Su Jing took 2 photos directly with his own phone. Then he said to the assistant director beside him, "Gong Gu, you take the photo first. You're the director, I'm just a deputy." The deputy director let out a bitter smile and clapped his hands, attracting everyone's attention to him. "Come on. All departments, get ready. Report any problems as soon as possible. Time is tight and tasks are heavy. Everyone, hurry up. Jiang Yun and the staff here have started preparing for filming." Director Su Zheng, on the other hand, has already aligned with Huang Tao's fans on Weibo. "What kind of garbage director? I think you're going to die poor. Find an amateur to play Ying Zheng. You can't live anymore. Aren't you afraid the original author will sue you? Hee, I'll put my words here. If I take a look at that damn TV drama you made, my whole family will shine. Director Dog, don't use my family Xinxin. My family Xinxin can go and act in your terrible TV drama, it's because your ancestral tomb is smoking. Who gave you the courage to refuse my family Xinxin? Su Zheng, don't let me see you, otherwise I'll have to turn your bald head into a dog's head." What kind of DS can now play the role of a wealthy second generation? The reason why novels adapted into movies are becoming increasingly unattractive is because these dog directors are making random changes, also buying navy black Mi Xinxin. It's really disgusting. Disgusting. Looking at his Weibo account, which was already occupied by vulgar language, Su Jing directly posted 2 photos on it. The first one is a set-up photo of Huang Xinxin, also known as the Imperial Noble Prince, by his fans. The second photo is just taken by Su Jinggang for Jiang Yun. He can be a director, and this photography technique goes without saying. Below the 2 photos, there is also a copy he just wrote. "I won't say anything else, I'll ask you, if you're the female lead, who would you choose?" Sun Mengmeng is an ordinary high school girl. As someone who has just finished her college entrance examination, she is full of longing for her future and also has plenty of time. And her way of passing the time is to pursue stars. Among them, Huang Xinxin is her favorite celebrity in her daily life, although she cannot be considered a Bone Ash fan. But Huang Tao's programs, movies, web dramas, and so on, she is the most active commentator and reposter. And she is also a small group leader of Huang Xinxin's fan group, with over 1,000 Huang Xinxin fans around her age in the group. Last night, after seeing her family Adu being bullied, she jumped out first and killed her little sisters leading the fan group. At this moment, she is not idle either. The first thing she does in the morning is to continue cursing under Su Zheng's Weibo account. As a result, I happened to see Su Zheng's Weibo post. At first, she sneered and thought to herself that Su Zheng had finally responded. This time, she had to scold him to death. But after looking at Jiang Yun's photo, she realized that this little brother doesn't look like a bad person either. Gudong. At the same time, she couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of water. It's broken. It seems like I'm going to cheat. Chapter 10. I think I am lively, new book seeks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Beijing, Xinxin Entertainment. Why? Why can't you handle such a small thing? Why did you cause so much trouble in his mother? Bang! The table was pounded fiercely, accompanied by the angry roar of the middle-aged man. My mother picked you up just to embarrass me. Can you still go with me? Damn it! Bang! Bang! Table HP.1.1 Huang Xinxin is bowing his head, honestly being scolded, as for why he didn't get up this time. That's because cursing him is not someone else, it's his own uncle, Huang Hao, the owner of Xinxin Entertainment. At this moment, Huang Hao's face turned red, and even veins could be seen around his neck. Due to the intense cursing movements, his big belly swayed back and forth twice. Very elastic. Unlike his previous arrogance in front of Su Zheng, Huang Xinxin is now as honest as a pet dog. He obediently lowered his head and dared not say a word. Huang Hao scolded him for almost 20 minutes before he finally calmed down. He sat on the sofa panting heavily and pointed at Huang Xinxin angrily. Do you know who that boy is? That's the young master of Oriental media. I invested 10 million yuan to get you into the production team of Qin Shi Huang, which must be very popular. Do you know? At this point, Huang Hao loosened his belt and continued cursing. Do you know what Jiang Yun called me last night and said? He said he never wants to see you again in the entertainment industry. That's Jiang Yun. Jiang Yun. I have to shout, Mr. Jiang, when I see him. If you can offend me like this, you are also a talented person. Huang Hao angrily pointed at Huang Xinxin's head, wishing to directly smash the dog's head. Also, let me ask you, who made you dismiss Wang Xiaohua? Who gave you the courage? They advised you not to post on Weibo, so you fired her. Do you still want to hit her? I'll tell you, Huang Xinxin, how did you drive me away? You'll have to invite me back. If Sister Hua doesn't come back, then don't come back either. Huang Xinxin waited for Huang Hao to finish speaking before timidly raising his head and saying, Uncle, you can't blame me either. Didn't you see how those bastards can bully people? Shut up. Huang Hao gritted his teeth and let out a long breath. Be honest with me in the future. This is the last time. I'll wipe your ass for the last time. Next time, you can go back to your hometown for retirement. Okay. Click. Take a break. Su Zheng looked at the composition in the picture and nodded with great satisfaction, shouting. Ha, finally you can rest. Across from Jiang Yun, the little actor who played Qing Jiao immediately breathed a sigh of relief and ran back to his agent to cry. Woo-woo, Mom, his eyes are so scary. Okay, stop crying, stop crying. As a manager, the mother quickly comforted her own son and expressed an apologetic expression to Jiang Yun. But this did not help the little actor stop crying in the slightest, and instead shouted even more condescendingly. He kept calling me his younger brother, even though I was 1 year older than him. Woo-woo. Jiang Yun's mouth twitched a few times helplessly, and he expressed that he was also very helpless about this matter. That's exactly what's written in the script. And you're too young at the age of 15. Looking at the other person who was 1 head shorter than himself, Jiang Yun shook his head helplessly and walked to the rest seat to sit down. Here, your water. Just as he sat down, the assistant director handed over a bottle of water with perfect movements and expressions. Thank you. Jiang Yun took the water and took a sip, speaking his lines all morning. His mouth was still quite thirsty. Especially the actor who became a dragon, he was scared and cried 5 times in a morning, let alone how many times he was NG. Undoubtedly, it greatly increased Jiang Yun's filming progress. So what, young Master Jiang, can I discuss something with you? Suddenly, the hesitant assistant director on the side spoke up. What? Jiang Yun, who was drinking water and watching Qing Jiao cry, said in confusion. When you were filming, could you please take a break from your gaze? Your aura is too strong, and the actors in the scene cannot bear it. The deputy director spoke out what director Su Zheng wanted to say. In fact, Su Zheng can both love and hate Jiang Yun's strong aura. Love is that this aura can make people feel it at a glance, oh. This is the feeling that young Ying Zheng should have. Unfortunately, this aura makes it difficult for the opposing actors to perform smoothly. Only those old actors can remain unaffected, and even younger actors will be affected. As for the young actors, that's over, they were scared to tears. Jiang Yun nodded in response. Okay, I thought you guys wanted this kind of feeling. Huh, how could it be? The deputy director smiled awkwardly, and the next second, he suddenly widened his eyes and looked at Jiang Yun. Because he suddenly realized that Jiang Yun's overall aura had changed directly at this moment. If just now, Jiang Yun's presence was so strong that it exploded. The feeling that Jiang Yun gives people now is that he is a young man living at home, full of youthful and sunny feelings. The strong contrast made the deputy director feel a bit dumbfounded for a moment, and he quickly ran back to report to Su Zheng, they may have really encountered a once-in-a-century acting genius. As for such a big reaction, Jiang Yun looked at the back of the assistant director who almost fell, then lay on the chair and lifted his right hand to look. The acting skills provided by the system are indeed a bit exaggerated. Can one change their temperament? Suddenly, looking at the scorching sun, Jiang Yun felt a shadow enveloping him. Looking up, I found a woman wearing an OL standing behind me holding a sun umbrella. Before Jiang Yun could ask, the other party spoke in standard Mandarin. Hello, I am a reporter from Beijing Entertainment. May I interview you? Journalists. Looking at the camera, elder brother following behind the other person, Jiang Yun stood up from the recliner and slightly tidied up his loose robe. Sure, what do you want to ask? And because of Jiang Yun's handsome and somewhat dull appearance, the female journalist reacted to the secret pokes from her colleagues. Oh, it's like this. I want to ask you, what made you selected as the actor of young Ying Zheng? The female journalist looked at Jiang Yun's handsome face and her eyes lit up. So handsome and cute, I really want to hear him call me Sister. Jiang Yun, who had no expression on his face, pondered over the other person's question, and then he thought of Su Zheng's first sentence when he saw him. It's because of the face, right? Face. Indeed, your handsomeness is among the best I have ever seen. The female journalist was a bit dumbfounded, she didn't expect Jiang Yun to answer such an answer. Fortunately, her professional ethics did not embarrass her again, and she only reacted in a second before continuing. Do you think you can portray the role of young boy Ying Zheng well? You know, he is the founding emperor of our country. It depends on the director, but I'm still quite confident. When watching Jiang Yun express her confidence with a pair of dead fish eyes, the female journalist admitted that she almost broke through the defense. Okay, so our final question is, do you think you have a similar personality to Ying Zheng? Or, what kind of person do you think you are? I'm not very sure if it looks like it. Jiang Yun answered the first question first, and then looked at the female journalist with a somewhat nervous gaze. Say with a lifeless expression. I think I am lively.